Okay, so this is a bit of a build challenge. I had a teacher ask me if we had the ability to recreate some of these pieces for a building kit that they have in their classroom. The pieces have started to break, go missing, and they haven't been able to find any replacement pieces. So in the meantime, can we try to recreate some of these pieces and keep these kits going? Now, the pieces themselves look like they come from a Connects kit, but it's not a Connects kit. They do have ends that snap into other pieces that allow you to build stuff like houses or platforms, chairs, stuff like that. It's a very basic type of kit. We're going to try to recreate this piece in Tinkercad and we're going to try to print it up and let's see what we get. So I'm taking out a cylinder and pressing shift. I'm going to scale this down so it has a diameter of 1 centimeter. And in doing so, you're going to notice this thing shrinking in all dimensions, which is fine by me because I can always extend it out lengthwise, which is what I'm going to do here. Now, just to give me something to play with, I'm going to extend this out to a length of 5 centimeters or 50 millimeters. And to give me those long beams or supports that run lengthwise along this cylinder, I'm going to use the sketch tool here, which I will place on one end of this cylinder and basically create what will become a cutout. So because I did not have the sketch centered directly on the surface of that end of the cylinder, I exited, selected them both, and then used the alignment tool to ensure that the sketch was centered onto the end of my cylinder. So in creating this shape in Sketch, what I'm essentially doing is kind of like masking out the parts of this cylinder that I want to keep. And as you can see here, it's really nice having that silhouette of the cylinder there, so I can use that as a bit of a reference point as I'm creating this shape. And of course, with Sketch, I can re-enter this again or move the points if I'm not happy with their placement. It's really easy to make changes afterwards. So now that I'm out, I can take a look and see what I've got here, and I do like that shape. So I make a duplicate of this cylinder because the cylinder that I'm currently working on will quickly become the cutout. And again, I extend my shape that I've drawn in Sketch so that it goes the entire length of the cylinder, and I turn it into a hole, and then I group them using Union Group or Control G. Now, the shape that I have left behind is going to become the cutout. So I'm going to select it, and I'm going to turn that into a hole. And then after that, I can take this newly formed cutout and align it perfectly with the duplicate of that original cylinder, both along the X, Y, and Z axes. And then I just select both of them and Control G, Union Group. And that is the perfect shape that I want for the length of my replacement building peg. Now, looking back at our reference photo here, I can see that those beams do end off at these circular discs. So we're going to recreate that as well. And that's actually pretty easy because if I just temporarily ungroup this object, I can take that solid cylinder and extend the length of it by 2 millimeters on either side. So it's basically 5.4 centimeters or 54 millimeters. And if I recenter this cutout to the midpoint of this cylinder, I should be left with those nice little caps on either end of this building peg. Yes, that looks perfect. All right, so going back to our reference picture here, it's time to add in those ends, those little posts at either end of this cylinder. And I'm going to estimate that they're about 1 centimeter on either side. So I'm going to drag out here just another cylinder and I'm going to size it down again. But this time I decided to make the diameter 8 millimeters just because this post looks to have a slightly smaller diameter than the 1 centimeter diameter of our original cylinder. But I did make the length of this a little bit longer at 11 millimeters. And here, with that cylinder selected, I'm going to go to that menu on the right to just bevel that edge there just a bit so that it helps guide this peg into the holes that it will be inserted into in this build kit. Now it does bevel it on both ends, so that's why I made this slightly longer because I'm just going to bury the one end into the cylinder and essentially hide it. Now, to help this peg click into the holes that it's being inserted into, the peg I saw in the picture has like this ridge that helps to lock it into place. So I thought I would use a torus ring here to help do that. And I had to size this down and play around with the radius as well as the tube size so that I would get something basically about a millimeter in width that would jut out by about 3/4 of a millimeter. Now, just an aside here, the torus ring is an interesting shape to try to manipulate using that drop down menu on the right. And if you want more information on this, I'll include a link to a video that I made about the torus ring, the ring, as well as the tube shape so that you can try to understand the radius, bevels, because they are slightly different for these shapes. And once I was happy with the size of this torus ring, I basically aligned it so that it was centered to that small peg, and then moved the torus ring 3 millimeters from the tip of that peg. What's nice about this is that if I ever need to make adjustments to this because it doesn't fit quite right, or maybe the dimensions that I was given were incorrect, I can just quickly come back here and resize things and make adjustments as needed. It's not a big deal. Now back to this picture here, you can barely see it, but that peg, as it enters into the rest of the cylinder, it is somewhat beveled there. You have a bit of a chamfer there, and I want to recreate that in my design as well. So for this, it was a cone, and really just eyeballing it here, I wanted this to essentially flare out just as this little piece was entering into the rest of that cylinder. So I gave the base of this cone a diameter of 1 millimeter, and I made the height of it basically just short of a centimeter at 9 millimeters. After that, I just used the alignment tool to ensure that it was centered directly onto that cylinder, and then aligned the base of the cone so it was in line with the end of that peg. So I noticed that there was also a cutout in this peg to allow for some flex as it's being inserted into holes. So I had to replicate that as well. So this was just a box cutout that I narrowed down to about 1.5 millimeters. I then centered it using the alignment tool and then moved it so that it was just a couple of millimeters short of the start of the chamfer, or where the peg begins to widen out to the rest of the cylinder. All right, here's just a minor detail, but I love this. In order to help strengthen this cutout so that it doesn't become a breaking point every time the sides of this peg flex, I actually took another small cutout of a cylinder to help round out the bottom part of this cutout and basically made it a diameter of 1.5 millimeters and then placed it so that the bottom half of it was just extending out from that edge of that box cutout so that it would create this nice rounded bottom for my cutout. All right, so now it's time to attach this peg to the end of this main cylinder, and that is done quite easily using the work plane tool just so I can ensure that it is flat up against that side. So I drop it on there and then simply select that end piece and drop it onto the work plane. After that, it's just a matter of selecting both pieces and then using the alignment tool, just making sure that it is aligned along that x-axis and the z-axis. It looked great. I just made one minor adjustment here. I just took that little end peg and I moved it in by 1 millimeter. That's it. It was time to then do the same thing on the other side. So I just took that end peg, duplicated it, and then rotated it 180 degrees and just realigned it to the other side. Again, using that work plane tool, I could just easily drop it to that end and then aligning them together to ensure that it was a perfect fit. I think we have it. So it's just a matter of printing this up and let's see how it looks. So the print itself looked pretty good. I had to print it up with some supports, but it was necessary because I wanted to print this so the filament was running lengthwise to give it the maximum amount of strength. But all the details were there. And the nice thing about this is that if I need to make further adjustments, make it slightly longer, make the pieces slightly wider, it's easy to do that now in Tinkercad because I have all the pieces in place. The design itself looks great. So again, this was really meant as a replacement piece for pieces that had been lost and broken. But for me, I just love the challenge of trying to recreate a piece using these basic shapes in Tinkercad. And who knows when these shapes or these different combinations of shapes might come in handy for a project later on. So until next time, I hope you found that entertaining. Take care, and we will see you on the next video.